Hello, and welcome to Your Estate Matters with your hosts, my colleague Greg Bernand and myself, Nicole Garten of Heritage Trust.
Your Estate Matters is a podcast dedicated to everything estates, including building and preserving your legacy.
If it's estate related, we'll be talking about it. We're having the conversations today that will help Canadians protect their families, their assets, and their legacies tomorrow.
Denise, welcome to Your Estate Matters. To start us off, could you tell us a little bit about your role at the West Vancouver Foundation and what drew you to this work?
Certainly. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And yeah, my role now at the foundation is co-executive director. So there's two of us in charge. We're a small team. There's 5 of us part-time. And what really drew me to it was the idea of being able to give back as part of my job. I've worked a lot of corporate jobs. Marketing was my background. And, I just would have those thoughts of, why am I doing this? I worked for Jim Pattison for a while. It's like, he's got enough dollars. What can I do to make a difference while I'm making a living? So when I saw that, I had volunteered in the past. And so when I saw this opportunity, I was really excited about it. Plus, it's in my community. So I get to make a difference in my own community.
Great. So for our listeners that aren't familiar, can you tell us a little bit about the West Vancouver Foundation?
Yeah, certainly. So there's actually over 200 community foundations in Canada. The first one started in Winnipeg over 100 years ago now. And so really a community foundation in general is there to make the community better. Our goal is to help create a place where everyone is connected, feels they belong, they're thriving. So we're doing that for the North Shore. We basically support charities and nonprofits that have programs that help make it a more connected place and help bring people along with that.
Okay, so people don't realize this is across from Vancouver on the North Shore. And do you serve the entire North Shore?
Yes. So our name's West Vancouver Foundation, but yeah, we definitely serve the North Shore. Most of the charities are located in North Vancouver, but there's some Vancouver charities that have programs on the North Shore, so North Vancouver, West Vancouver, and Squamish Nation as well. And so we support those as well, as long as the program's on the North Shore.
Terrific. How does a community foundation like the West Vancouver Foundation differ from other charitable foundations?
Good question. So it is quite a bit different. It's often hard to, communicate what we are, how we're different. But essentially, we're not running our own programs. So we're supporting those charities that are running programs to support people. Seniors, health and wellness, kids, sports, things like that. But we have very limited programs ourselves. We do have a youth philanthropy council committee for kids. We do some research and insights, some programs for charities. But for the most part, our biggest impact comes from supporting charities, nonprofits on the North Shore. So it's a little tricky at times to communicate that because we don't necessarily have an ask for a specific cause, individual cause. We're supporting really all needs across the North Shore.
So you're basically gathering assets in your funding foundation. You look at what people bring to you to fund.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
So can you give us an example of how you support these local initiatives and how things like donor advice funds and endowments play a role?
Certainly. So for the most part, our biggest impact is through our granting programs. So we run different granting programs throughout the year. Charities, nonprofits will apply to those programs, and we have different criteria that we're looking for. Our biggest one is community grants. So that is about creating connection and belonging. So again, it's pretty wide open. It can range from the arts because somebody might be feeling lonely and needs to get out, and arts are a great way to do that. It could be that somebody has some mental health issues and needs support that way in order to feel back to normal. So the needs range, but it's generally through our granting programs. We have a volunteer grant committee that vets those applications with a scoring rubric. We then have a ranking, and that is how we determine which ones we'll fund. So then that's where the funds come into play. So we have over 130 funds at the foundation with different purposes, with different criteria, and also different involvement. So some are open to the greatest need in the community. Some will work with the donors. They might select to have part of their funds or the interest from the fund go to a specific charity. They might have it go to a certain cause, or sometimes we'll work with them and make recommendations to them on ones that might be important to them. They can determine it. And then there's others where they will tell us, they might have a communication each year to say, here's the charities I'd like to support from my fund. So there's a wide range of ways to do it, but we definitely will work with all of the donors to see what works best for them.
You've kind of alluded to it, but what are some examples of types of grants the foundation has made in recent years that have had a tangible impact on the community, if you can think of a specific case or two?
Yeah. I mean, like I say, we grant in a lot of different areas. We just had the Culture Fest last weekend, so we granted to that one. So that's a free arts and culture festival with food trucks, entertainment. We grant to lately a lot of youth programs. So we see some that might be for the homeless shelter on the North Shore, as well as programs that might help vulnerable youth get into post-secondary to navigate that system and program. I mean, it's tough enough if you have full supports, but let alone if you don't have those supports. Another one around youth that I really like is there's a program from Plea Community Services that's going into the schools and talking to the kids about sexting and trafficking and things like that. Issues that people don't think would necessarily live on the North Shore, but are very much there. So a lot of times it's these issues that people aren't aware of even exist. So it sort of has a big wide range. We have a lot of programs around seniors. The population, especially in West Vancouver, is quite high with seniors. And so we have different caregiver programs, meal programs, shuttle buses to get them around. So we see, like I say, a wide range. Some sporting ones we've seen recently, the Special Olympics on the North Shore. There's just recently we granted to a lacrosse program in Squamish Nation and Tsleil-Waututh Nation. So that's, so yeah, quite the range. It's quite lovely.
So if you're a local resident and you want to get involved, what are some ideas, like through giving or volunteering or partnering?
Yeah, so all of those work. Giving, we have some people that might donate sort of as a one-off. We do have a giving campaign we do in the fall. We select 10 different charities, typically from a wide range of causes. And when a community member donates, we match those funds with some of our funds. Some of our donors have put their funds forward, up to $10,000. So there's one-off ways to give. People can give to our granting fund as well. Opening a fund is typically how we're working with people. So usually if they have a cause that's close to their heart or they just want to support the community that they're passionate about, they'll open a fund. Those ones sort of start at $10,000 and there's no limit to what they can go to. So those are sort of the ways financially. Volunteers, like I say, we have 5 part-time staff, but we have over 40 volunteers on a regular basis. We have a variety of committees. Our board is all volunteers. So that's a nice way to get involved. That's with the foundation. Most of the charities we work with also have a huge roster of volunteers. So again, if you haven't volunteered, that's a good way to look at it. And then partnerships. We have some partnerships. We do research each year and publish, we call it a vital signs report. It's sort of a community checkup. It helps us stay in touch with where those needs are in the community and how the community's doing, some of the issues, some of the highlights. So we get sponsors of that piece in order to publish that. And then there's always other opportunities as well for partnerships. We do try to even sort of convene some of our charity partners to make sure everyone's, keeping in touch with what's going on and how they can support each other and just be stronger together. So there's all of those opportunities as well.
This is a question. If people visited your website, are they able to see all of the foundation's work with your funding currently?
Yes.
And the granting?
Yeah, we do list on our website's quite extensive. There's a lot of information there. And yeah, if you go on to the specific grants. We list which organizations and projects we funded. We also have an impact page. So after a grantee receives a grant through our grant programs, they send an impact report back. So it just says, what impact did that grant have? What was the program able to accomplish? So we put some of the highlights on there as well, so people can really see.
And would an existing organization that's not been in contact with you before, would they be able to make an application on that? For if they were looking for funding, like a proposal?
They can't. We have 3 main grant programs. And so depending on what time of year, there may or may not be a grant program open. And then we have smaller grants that are also open, micro grants for up to $1,000. Another one we have for West Vancouver residents is the Neighborhood Small Grant Program. So that one's actually for individuals. It's the only one we have that way. Normally, we're only granting to charities, but that one's for up to $500 for individuals that want to do their own project that builds community, essentially. So we see a lot of block parties, free workshops. We had salsa lessons by the sea. So those are some of them. But yeah, people, as long as their program's on the North Shore, they can definitely be in touch with us at least.
Can you walk us through the process if somebody is interested in starting a fund or making a donation with the foundation? How flexible is the giving process?
It's quite simple. If they want to do a one-time donation, we have online, and then you receive a tax receipt instantly. So that's a pretty simple one with a credit card. We also take checks, publicly traded securities, RSPs, TFSAs. A lot of the gifts we're seeing are gifts in a will. So people will name the foundation. If they've already opened a fund, that's the best. Then we clearly know what they want to support. But we receive a good bulk of our funds that way, is a gift in a will. And then as far as opening a fund, it's pretty simple. We recommend the first step is talk to your family. Talk about what's important to you, what causes you might want to support, and whether a family might be new to Canada. Get the kids there. What are they experiencing? What do they see? What are the grandparents experiencing? What's important to them? Or if you were born and raised in West Vancouver, same sort of things. You're going to see different issues. You're going to see different things that you're passionate about. And then contact us. And really, it's once you have that, that's the big piece. Or again, you can have it open to support the community's greatest needs. Then it's sort of, what would you like to call the fund? It could be a family name. It could be something special to you. And how you want to be involved in the granting. Do you want to be involved? Do you want to make the decisions? Or do you want to let the Volunteer Grants Committee make those recommendations? So those are really the bulk of it. It's pretty simple. We'd like to keep it simple. And it's not for everyone, but if somebody does want to have that impact in the community, ideally on an ongoing basis, then it's a great place to look.
So tell me what's going on in 2025. Do you have any priorities that you're focusing on?
Our priorities keep changing as the needs in the community change, really. I started with the foundation 6 years ago, and when I started, there were very few applications for grants, which is sort of reflective of where the needs are for youth or the environment. This latest grants in January, the bulk were for youth. I think we're really seeing since 2020, COVID, the youth and health and wellness are much larger issues. In West Vancouver in particular, there's a lot of seniors, so we see a lot of issues for seniors coming. And then really we try to support, like I say, what we're seeing the best we can. And the North Shore, housing and transportation are huge issues. Our grants are typically around $15,000. That won't make a big impact, but some organizations might need a little boost to help them start a project or do some research before they can do a bigger project. So we try to make that impact where we can. But for us, really, it's just staying on top of what the issues are and continuing to have a bigger impact where we can.
Many of our listeners are interested in leaving a legacy. What options are available for people who want to include the foundation in their will or estate plan?
Yeah, so like I say, that's the best way, really, to leave a gift, especially if you want more significant. And ideally, we will meet with the person before their passing. So again, we know what they have in mind. definitely recommend talking to the family about that, especially in BC. That's an issue if the family isn't aware. But like I say, it can be as simple as leaving it in their will. The lovely thing about leaving a gift in their will, there's two sort of ways you can open a fund. One's a flexible, where the capital and the interest can be granted back out. Or another one is an endowment. And so that leaves the capital there in perpetuity, and it's the interest that gets granted out. So those are lovely for bequests. We have quite a few of those. We have one, it's in memory of a young man, but it's $10,000. But each year I grant out $500, and we always let the charities know what the fund is, where it came from. They often include that information in their newsletters, websites. So it really gives the family, a little sense of pride that their family member's name lives on. But it can be as simple as leaving a mention in their will. But Nicole probably has a lot more information on that.
I do, but I'm interested. I know that there have been some seminal legacy gifts. Do you want to tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. Yeah, so probably our largest one that's having a huge impact on the foundation, 2014, Howard Martin, longtime West Vancouver resident, left a large gift in his will to the foundation. He left gifts to a few charities, but the foundation did receive $3.6 million. That one is for the greatest needs in the community. So essentially, it's the grants committees that determine where that will get granted out. And in that 11 years, we've already granted $1.8 million from that fund. So if you think it's done that in 11 years, just imagine the impact it will have in 25 or 50 years. So gifts like that are huge. So that really was able to take us sort of to that next level of impact in the community. But they can also be smaller gifts. We have another legacy gift that is in memory of a young girl that tragically passed, a young woman. But the nice thing about that is on the anniversary of her passing, the family takes that time to look at the grant applications that might support causes that are close to their hearts. And it's so instead of it just being a sad day, it now can have some positive come from it as well. So they've said that it's brought them great relief. And again, her name will live on around supporting young adults that have similar issues. So it's great to see that. And it can be difficult in the office at times. There's a lot of sad stories. But on the other side, it's great to be able to see that we're able to bring some happiness and relief as well and remember these people. Like we get great joy ourselves hearing about their stories and that they would want to see this legacy live on.
Okay, so for somebody considering a gift in their will, what are the key advantages of doing so through a community foundation like yours?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. And one example I love that a coworker always gives is just imagine when that first community foundation formed 100 years ago. Somebody might have wanted to leave a gift for polio research. What would happen to that now? Where would that gift be? So with a community foundation, you could sort of make it as wide-ranging or as limited. But the nice thing is, so we've celebrated our 45th anniversary last year. We're a stable charity. We'll be here in 50 to 100 years. So if a certain cause might not exist any longer, if they've named a specific charity that no longer exists, we have a clause in the agreements that allows us to grant to a similar purpose or a similar charity. So that gift keeps giving to where the intention was, even if the direct intention isn't there anymore. We also see some people, especially if it's a larger gift, they might not want to give a large gift directly to a charity and have them maybe do something they wouldn't agree with. And so this way, again, by giving it to the community foundation, there's a little more restrictions to it. If you set it up as an endowment fund, it's the interest earned in perpetuity going to that charity. So it gives that charity real stability. So there's a few different reasons for that. We actually have quite a few charities that have funds with us. A lot of times it's for that situation. North Shore Rescue is one. They have a few funds with us, actually. And last year they received a large gift in somebody's will to one of the funds at the foundation. And we'd have to think it's for that exact idea. So yeah.
So how do you work with professionals like estate lawyers, financial advisors to support donors?
So far, it's really been more conversations with them and making sure that they're aware to make it clear with their clients. Make sure that it's clear what they want to support, make sure they've talked to the family, sort of similar information. But we do try to get that information out more to let them know that, leaving a gift to a charity in general is an option. Community foundation, it is a little more complicated to understand at times, but once you get it, it's easier in many ways. So we're just trying to communicate that message. And we'll have different relationships with different advisors, be it accountants, estate lawyers, what have you. So getting that same sort of message out to make sure they're supporting their clients and getting that message that, especially if somebody is philanthropic already, if they're already donating to charity, that might be important to them to keep supporting charities in the future.
Is the foundation ever able to sort of amplify the grants they get by other foundations matching a similar idea, like where they say 10,000 will be matched 2 times over or up to certain amounts?
We haven't done anything directly like that, but what we do find is for some of the charities, when they're applying for government funded grants, they show our support, and that helps them with their case to get a larger grant. So sometimes showing that your local community foundation supports you, those in the community believe in you, allows them to access additional funds. So we've seen it more that way, I would say. And same for the reports we're doing, Vital Signs. A lot of the charities are very thankful for that information. It's hard for them to get that type of thing on their own. And so we present it in a nice, easy to digest format that they can use.
So what are the most pressing needs you see in West Vancouver today, and how can philanthropy help address them?
Well, like I say, right now we're seeing a lot with youth, health and wellness, seniors. The environment is one that's becoming more and more evident. But even sports and rec. Sports and recreation goes to health and wellness. So those are sort of the areas we're focusing on. Arts, culture, and heritage as well. So we sort of have, there's those 5 fields of interest that we really focus on. We do have communications with the charities. Sort of every 2 or 3 years, we'll bring them together to hear what they have to say as well. There is a lot of research out there to support that. And so, really, if somebody does want to make it wide-ranging, their donation or their fund, and it's supporting the community needs where it is, that's really what we are about. So that's, again, where a community foundation is a great place to make that donation. Hopefully one day cancer no longer exists. So then the donations that are going to BC Cancer, for example, could be going elsewhere. So, but we're always on top of what the needs are locally.
So where do you see the foundation going in the next 5 to 10 years?
On our operating plan, basically our first goal is to continue increasing our impact. So that's number one. There's so many needs still. Some of them, there's a lot of stopgap measures. We have programs on the North Shore supporting our unhoused populations, but really there isn't a solution to that issue right now. So as we can grow and support more of those issues with more impact is definitely where we want to go. We celebrated our 45th anniversary. Right now, we have $29 million in assets under management, and our goal is by our 50th anniversary, we want to hit 50 million. So that allowed us, the 29 million allowed us to grant out over 1 million. So 50 million would be 2 million. So that's sort of where our sort of short-term goals. Long-term, we've had some ideas floating around. People have heard of the Blue Zone, where people are healthy and live to over 100. We would love to see that on the North Shore and us play a part in that. So we play a bit of a convener. Another suggestion was we have our own building or house where we can bring different charities together. Maybe they're sharing the office space. So again, we're sort of a charity hub. Because we can't do it ourselves, right? We need to do it with the other charities. So the more we can support them in grants, but also insights, collaboration, convening. So all of that is where we really see us going. But our goal is to have a community that thrives.
How do you keep the community involved in shaping the foundation's priorities and strategies?
Most directly, our board, it is a governance board, so they're helping us with our strategies for the most part. They're volunteers from the community, different backgrounds, ages, experiences. So we're looking to them a lot. Our committees as well, volunteers. We have an honorary governors committee that's sort of some past board members, but some other notable community members. So really keeping connected, keeping that connection and understanding what those needs are helps keep us on track, really. So that's where we look to.
So do you have a story or experience that's really resonated with you at the foundation?
Yeah, so there's a good one. We work closely with the West Vancouver Seniors Activity Centre. So they have programs, they have a cafeteria restaurant. But in 2020, when COVID hit, everything closed there. And so there was a wonderful woman that was in charge of the center, Jill Lawler. She said, we can't see these seniors. We can't feed them. Let's see how they're doing. And so her and her staff started phoning around. So, how are you doing? Awful. We're bad. What's going on? We don't have food. We're lonely. We're scared. And so she reached out to us to see what we could do. And we talked to one of our top donors that's very passionate about giving back to the community and especially around seniors. And so sort of collectively, the Feed the Need program was formed. So it's a Seniors Activity Center program, but we've played a big part in the fundraising for that. And that one included matching funds. So this donor also matched the funds, the initial 100,000, and now each year continues to match 10 or 20,000 as well of the donations. And so that program continues on, providing meals 3 times a week for vulnerable seniors in West Vancouver. And it's amazing to see what it's done. They're hoping to do some research because what they're seeing is these seniors that used to be, sick more often, they might have had open wounds. They're getting better by having regular, healthy meals. And it's 3 times a week, but it's actually enough of a serving for probably 2 or 3 meals. And then also for the volunteers. One of our volunteers is also one of their volunteers, and you cannot meet with him on a Wednesday because that's his job. He's delivering meals and he's having those connections with these seniors. So that's been wonderful to see. They also were able, when we had the heat dome a couple of years ago, because they have this connection with these individuals, they were able to warn them that the heat dome is coming, give them some, ideas on how to stay cool. And anecdotally, they believe that the mortality rate was lower than the rest of the province thanks to that. So that's been a wonderful program that continues going on. So the donations support the food purchases. Volunteers are delivering the meals. So it's a great program. And again, a hidden need that we didn't know was there.
For those who are listening who might be curious but don't know where to start, what's your advice for taking the first step towards the community giving or legacy planning?
Yeah, well, the first step, like I say, have a conversation with your family, your friends. Think about what you care about. Think about what legacy you want to leave. Do you want to be remembered this way? There are other ways to leave a legacy, of course. But yeah, if charitable giving, making a difference in your community is one of the ways, definitely think about that. So talk about what those causes are that are important to you. And then contact your community foundation. Like I say, there's over 200 across Canada, but if you're on the North Shore, we would love to hear from you. We love talking to people that want to make a difference. One of our larger donors, one of the best parts of my job is we go on tour and visit some of the charities. And it's just wonderful to see how they so appreciate making that impact and the joy they receive and seeing the difference their gifts are making to these charities and hearing about the stories of impact. So we're very lucky that way. But yeah, so talk to your family, talk to us, think about what legacy you want to leave.
So how can people learn more about the West Vancouver Foundation and connect with you?
Yeah, so our website has a lot of information on it, westvanfoundation.ca. So you can learn about leaving a gift in your will, see about some of the other grants that are being made, how to open a fund, volunteer opportunities even. You can also sign up for our newsletter. On the bottom of our footer there, there's a sign up for that. And so we send out once a month so you can see what we're up to. Our largest donor, that's how he contacted us. He was watching our website. We try to keep it updated. And it was something of interest. He and his wife had their own family fund, but it's a lot of work to maintain a foundation. And so they dissolved the foundation and opened a fund with us. So we do the filings and what have you. So those are a couple of ways. Social media, where Instagram and Facebook is West Van FDN for foundation. And just staying in touch, contacting us, email, phone. Like I say, we love talking to people about making a difference. We're very lucky that way.
Well, it sounds like a great job.
It is. Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yes.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered individual legal, financial, or tax advice. Make sure to consult the advisor of your choice to advise you on your own circumstances. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Your Estate Matters. If you like this podcast, make sure to follow it on your podcast platform of choice.
Whether you are planning your own estate or you're acting as executor for somebody else's, Heritage Trust can help. Partner with Heritage Trust to protect your family, your assets, and your legacy.
If you would like more information about Heritage Trust, please visit our website at heritagetrustcompany.ca.
This podcast is produced by Podfather Creative.